Hello dear travelers, welcome to a new video of Get in Peru Travel Company. I'm David, one of the tour guides and founder of this company. In today's video, I'm going to take you to a mountain bike tour through the salt mines of Maras. Let's start. So guys, the way we're going to make this worth is that as you see this video, I'm going to explain what you expect to find on this trail, such as the endurance, the places you're going to see, how is the weather like, so on and so forth. To get to this trail, we start by 8 o'clock from Cuzco City. Pick the bikes from the company's storehouse, then take a car until we reach Chincheros, in a small community located in the heart of Sacred Valley. Let's first talk about the trail. We split it in two sections. The first part goes from Chincheros to the community of Maras across this dirt road. It's basically a test to see how can you handle riding a bicycle at over 12,000 feet. The second part goes from the community of Maras down to the salt mines. The second section becomes tougher and technical due to the obstacles you have to surpass. Although we already break it down for you. In on a scale from 1 to 5, this is 2. Alright guys, what you expect to find on this mountain bike tour is the best landscapes of the Sacred Valley, such as this beautiful lake you see on the left, as well as glacier mountains, wonderful local people, the salt mines itself, and acres and acres of farmlands. Before we continue, let me introduce you and thank my dear friend Stephanie for joining us to this adventure. Guys, you probably noticed the first section is not very difficult, going across this dirt road, looking at this farmers' houses on each side. The only experience you need is to know how to ride a bicycle very well in the city. For this journey, we'll provide you with all the necessary equipment, from the bicycle itself, which has a hydraulic brakes, front shock, as well as helmet, gloves and knee pad. To ride a bike on the mountains, there is a simple trick. You have to stand up and place your body slowly to the back wheel of the bike, as you see Stephanie here. The total distance we're going to do is 32 kilometers or 20 miles from an elevation of 3,700 meters or 12,000 feet down to 2,900 meters or 9,000 feet. It's actually pretty weird when you translate from meters into feet. Anyway guys, let's pass on to the recommendations. For this journey, you're going to need sunscreen, sunglasses, and especially a backpack. The trick or secret with the backpack is the following. Sometimes there is ramps along the trail, and there is on this trail, and you may want to jump them, although you may fall. So the backpack actually should contain a couple of jackets in case you fall, so your spine is protected. Unless you're an expert, we don't recommend to do this. At this point, we intersect with the quiet bike tour. This is another option you guys can choose to do almost the same road. The only difference is that these people are not going to reach the salt mines with their quad bikes. You'll see why in a few minutes. On the third section, let's talk about the weather. In the Andes Mountains, there is only two seasons, rain and dry. The rainy season goes from November to April and the dry season from May to October. Both have 6 months each, and we do not experience the 4 seasons like in other countries. In case you're wondering how fast we were going, for the most part of the trail we went from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. This part is actually quite curious because the quad bikes and us were passing each other like in a race, although we always recommend to keep the right hand side of the road whenever you ride a bike or the quad bikes. As you guys can see, the road is pretty dusty, so we also recommend to bring a buff to cover your mouth, your nose, so you'll be alright. There are some sections on this mountain bike tour where you have to go up pedaling, so this is where you're going to feel how is to breathe and how is to make some workout at over 12,000 feet. There is about 10% less of oxygen over here, and this really you'll really feel it. And this brings us to the benefits of riding a bike over 9,000 feet, which is over like 2,500 meters. It could be the Andes, it could be anywhere else in the world over that elevation. To dive deep into the subject, have you ever asked how do the people live over such elevations with no problems or no altitude sickness problems at all? We've all heard the expression nature is wise. There is two simple facts in here. The first fact is that people who born in the Andes will naturally have more red blood cells, but people who move from sea level areas to these such places, their bodies will naturally increase the amount of red blood cells. And I gotta point out that red blood cells have iron, which actually helps to pull out the oxygen you breathe. So guys, simply put, the equation is this: the more red blood cells you have, the more oxygen you'll breathe and the less probabilities of having altitude sickness you'll have. So guys, to keep things simple and compare apples to apples, if we compare somebody who lives over 2,500 meters with somebody who lives at sea level, the person who lives on the mountains will actually have half liter more of blood. Imagine that. On this section of the video, we just keep riding as fast as we can, enjoying the landscape around until we reach the community of Maras. So guys, I'll leave you enjoying the ride and we'll see each other on minute 7.34. You'll notice that you've finished the first section whenever you see this asphalt road that belongs to Maras. At this point on 21st century, this community has about 2,000 inhabitants, but it already has electricity, water and drainage pipes. Although the local people still preserve their Inca and colonial traditions, for example, these white walls with blue doorways, which actually belong to the front facades of every single house in this little town that comes from the Spanish colonial times. Talking about education in Peru, it's actually a hard subject because we have 42 different languages, with Spanish as our main used language, but also we do have another two, such Quechua and Aymara. Quechua is the language mostly spoken in this local community, and their teachers actually teach children and elderly people in this language, in Quechua. Changing topic guys, maybe some of you watching this video remember this video game on PlayStation 2 called Downhill. I bring this video game to the story because it actually remembers me when I was a child. I used to play this game where you used to start, on a very tall mountain and go all the way down with your bike on the video game, seeing local people, seeing tourists. It was actually pretty cool. And I bring this into the story because of the distances you guys have in here. I mean in Peru, in the Andes. You can easily pick your bike and start at over 14,000 feet and go all the way down to 10 or 9,000 feet. And just imagine that, especially the distance, you'll ride for about 1 hour and a half hours going down on a bike. Just imagine that. And I like this because if you compare with the United States or Canada or maybe Europe, the trails are only like 15-20 minutes. Not that very long. From the whole ride, this is the part I didn't like at all because of my tire. I passed on a thorn and I couldn't keep going. Luckily I had all the tools to fix it, but we were even luckier because we found a mechanic in Maras town, so he fixed it for us while we enjoyed some snacks. some local snacks that I'll show you guys. It is a very typical thing in Peru to see this local lady selling boiled eggs with boiled potatoes with mayonnaise and hot sauce. We call it huevo hervido.
¿Ocupa?
No, señorito, solo mayonesa, por favor. Yo tengo acá tenedor. I gotta point out that all ingredients used to prepare this, even the mayonnaise, are actually natural. The drinks you see on the table are a local beer called chicha, made out of corn with strawberries. Ya te haznos por favor los honores, una degustación de la frutillada.
Muy rica.
If you guys watching this video decide to come with us for this tour, for sure we're gonna make you try this. Before we jump into the second section, I'm going to show you the main square of Maras, where you're going to see this sculpture of Moray, the salt mines, the main church of the place, and the granaries, which are the four most remarkable places of Moray. In the end, the mechanic decided to change the chamber, so we just replace it in the front wheel and we continue, as you guys see over here. So let's jump into the second section. Alright guys, the most exciting section is actually this one, because you're going to experience the MTB itself. We leave the dirt road to get into this trail. Keep in mind, if you look to your right hand side while riding the bike, you'll see this beautiful background of the Sacred Valley, with that glacier, with the corn farms, all the way down to the salt mines, which is very beautiful. This section, even though it's quite technical, as I said earlier, from a scale from 1 to 5, this is 2. It's actually not that difficult, except for some parts which actually the wheel slides and kind of like turns. But as long as you know how to ride a bike very good in the city, you'll do very well. After we pass this tiny tractor to your right hand side, we see the biggest ramp of the trail, which is this one to your right hand side, 2.3 meters. Unless you're a professional, we do not recommend to do this jump, because jumping it's easy, but landing it's another story, and there are many facts that may affect your landing, such as your velocity, how tall you are, your weight, and even the technique you use while jumping, and many others. So we just decided to pass on and keep going across this beautiful trail, looking at that glacier, so we decided not to risk our bodies and have like broken bones in case something go wrong. A part of the corn farms and agaves you guys see, there is not that much to explain on this part of the video, so I'll leave you guys until minute 21 with 10 seconds. On the right side of your screens there is going to appear a cliff, which will make this trail beautiful and tougher. Anyway guys, see you each other on minute 21 with 10 seconds. Enjoy the trail.
Baja, ¿sí o no? Bien chévere. Sigue de frente nomás. No olvides botar el cuerpo hacia atrás. Derecha, derecha. Sí, derecha. Sí, sigue, sigue.
A la miércoles.
¿Qué tal?
Estaba bien fuerte.
Nivel 2.
¿Una foto?
Dale, ¿dónde está tu cel?
En un bolsillo chiquito de fuera.
Ya. Levántate un poco el casco para que se te vea el rostro. Ahí está. 3, 2, 1. Bota el cuerpo atrás. Vas bien, Te, vas bien, párate, recuerda la técnica, parada y botando el cuerpo hacia atrás. Sí, 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 sigue de frente. Ya vamos a llegar a las salineras, ¿ves?
Sí, para mí mentalmente parece.
Ya te marco la línea. Despacio, nomás baja.
Aside of the paraphernalia and adrenaline you guys saw, we finally reached the first lookout to the salt mines. Look at to your right hand and your screens over here. It's actually pretty cool to see this. We still had some trail before we get there, but we used this time to take some pictures from far in the distance before we walk and see the salt mines with our bikes. And here comes Stephanie doing a great job riding the bike. Good job, Stephanie. You did it very well.
Sigue, sigue, sigue. Sí.
For this part, Stephanie is going behind, so she'll show you the technique. And I decided actually to turn around the camera so you'll see a better picture of how is the trail like. Let me quote that the majority of tourists who visit the salt mines do this on a car, which is actually the standard to come and visit this place. Anybody who wants to visit the salt mines has to pay 10 soles for the right of access, especially us because we're going across. Once you enter, you have to be very careful, especially on the first section because there are tourists going down and they do not expect to see crazy people on a bike. Some of them may have kids and you know, they're on vacations, you are on vacations, so who is actually paying attention, right? Just be careful. We continue riding for a few more seconds before we stop to see the salt mines itself, that actually you guys can see to your left hand side on your screens over here.
¿Te estás divirtiendo o no te?
Demasiado. Mucha adrenalina.
The salt mines of Maras are harvested since pre-Inca times, around 800 years ago, and the locals still do that nowadays. Nowadays there is more than 3,000 pools that the farmers used. The way this works is that there is salty water somewhere inside this mountain that is pushed to the surface and it was canalized by the Incas across these terraces. There is just one single stream of salty water canalized that goes all the way across the top part, and there are also streams at the side of the main one that will go down aside the hill, allowing the salty water go from terrace to terrace. So what the farmers do is they fill up one of these pools. Once it's done, they will block it with a stone and will let the water continue down to the next terrace and the next one and the next one. So after a month, they just wait, the sand will evaporate the salty water and the salt layers will stay at the base of the terrace. On average, every pool will produce 120 pounds or 50 kilos every single month, but only 9 times in a year. Remember that we have 6 months of rainy season, so during rainy season there is going to be one harvest after 2 months. Since this works from natural evaporation, it actually makes sense. So after enjoying the place, taking some pictures and enjoying the history, we continue. And on this section we almost killed this tourist. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If so, please don't forget to give us those thumbs up, subscribe, and visit our travel company via getinperu.com. I'll leave you the links down below on the box. The next minutes of the video, it's purely the downhill you're going to experience. As we go down, the trail becomes technical and tougher. There are some sections where Stephanie fell off the bike. Luckily, she didn't hurt. So I'll leave you guys enjoying the ride, and I'll see you on minute 33 with 46 seconds with final comments.
Te odio, te odio.
Dale, te metes a la última sección. Pégate a la izquierda, a la derecha, a la derecha.
Ay, me caigo, me caigo, me caigo. Ay. Casi me caigo, casi me caigo. Sí me voy. Sí puedo, sí puedo. Sí puedo, sí puedo, sí puedo. Sí puedo, sí puedo. Sí puedo, sí puedo. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Ya, vamos. Oh, no. No puedo, no puedo. Sí puedo, 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 sí puedo. Esto no es un 2, esto es un 5. ¿Cómo mierda es un 5? ¡Estoy bien!
¿Sigues con vida?
Sí. Espérame, espérame.
Pásalo caminando, si vas bien.
Sí puedo.
Recuerda, pegado hasta el fondo y de ahí doblas a la izquierda cuando llegues a la esquina.
¡Ay, concha! Me caigo, me caigo, me caigo. Sí puedo, sí puedo, sí puedo.
De ahí se puede.
Esto no es un 2, ¿ah?
Ya, es la parte más técnica.
Según yo, no sé qué tan listo esté. Aquí voy. Me caí. Y me abandonó. Que quede filmado que me abandonó. Estoy bien. Hola.
Con espacio.
Tiene que bajar porque si no lo atropello, señor. Estoy escondida.
Dale más con el freno de atrás.
Le doy con el freno de atrás.
Casi hasta seco,
¿Qué?
Casi hasta frenar en seco. Como el que adelante ahí hace un poquito, nada más que baja la velocidad.
¿Y sabes qué es lo peor? Me abandonaste.
Este es lo último. Tú puedes. Dale.
Me abandonaste. Se ha quedado filmado.
Te voy a poner la cámara hacia arribita.
¿La volteé?
Está bien. Si no, como ya estamos en plano, no va a grabar.
Ah, ya. Vamos.
Lo hiciste. Claro que sí.
Final comments, final recommendations. We finally reached the road. On this section you have to be very careful because cars go from 60 to 80 miles per hour. So we'll always recommend to keep the right hand side, and if possible for you, right inside the white line you guys see on the screen. We started by 8 o'clock and we finished by 2:30 in Urubamba, the town you see on your screen. We were actually very hungry, so we decided to go to a local restaurant, which was a wonderful experience that I'll show you. We went to La Morenita where we tried trout and fried pork chicharrones. You can tell this place is very local because of the beer. Look at the bikes where they are, the kitchen, look at the people, the farmers. Actually, we ate with the farmers themselves, and this is us.
So my dear travelers, this is how we end this tour, the salt mines of Cusco, Maras. I'm going to give you all the links down here in the box description so you can check out our tours, you can check out our social media. It was a pleasure for me to be your guide today, and I'll see you on the next video.